Mark Cook at Dalinghaus Construction. I'm here with Justin and we are in Dana Point looking at a historical home. And we are in COVID times, so we have our masks on. This is for a real estate transaction. So what we're doing is we received an engineer's report, and then what we're gonna do is verify those measurements, and then we're gonna put together a bid and send it off to them. Wow.
What do you got?
10.
10 on the
inches.
dot?
Yep. 10 inches.
And how far away would you say that 0 point is?
46, almost 50 feet. So this is the engineer's report. These lines are called contour lines, and this is his minus 10 inch. So if you look at, I used to do land surveying, so if you think about that in a respect of slopes of hills, this is kind of a simplistic aspect of that. So we have the family room, these are contour lines, 9.5 inches. This is minus 9 here. So these contour lines are showing where the elevations are. So we don't normally put contour lines on our repair plans, we put where the elevation drop is, but this house is 1929 and it is dropping 10 inches, and this is a more severe drop than we normally repair. We have done some 20-inch ones, but a normal average repair is probably 2 to 4 inches, or maybe 3 to 5. But this is 10 inches, pretty extreme. The new buyer doesn't want to lift it per se. They want to just stabilize it from further movement. So what we would do here, because it's a 1929 house, they're pretty light structures with the footing that we don't know what it looks like. We would put helicals here so it doesn't rely on the force of the house pushing down. So we can just screw them in the ground and attach them to the footing, and then we won't be reliant on having to do lift with a push pier. So we're just here to stabilize it with the helical pier so it never moves again. So if you pan up that way, I'll show you where the drop really starts. So now we're about 20 feet from the 0 point, and it's minus 3 inches right here, which is, it correlates pretty much to this engineer's plan. He's getting a minus 3 inches running across from that room into here on that contour line. So then we're gonna drop down over to here. You can really feel the fall. And we're gonna place that there. So just within 10 feet, it drops 3.5 inches. So an engineer doesn't want it to drop more than 1/2 inch in 10 feet. This is times that by what, 6 or 7 almost. So this is really dropping here. So we will be going under, or at least me, here in a few minutes, but I want to see what it looks like, especially at this point where the posts and pads or the beams, there could be some broken beams. So I need to take a look at that, and the entrance is back there by the deck, so we'll take a look at that. So right now I'm just verifying that this engineer's measurements are correct, and then I'll get pictures. We already have this. I could do a pier layout later, and then we'll send them the bid. This is a historical home, so there's a lot of hoops to jump through with the city.
All right, so Justin and I are looking through the crawl space entrance, and we are looking back towards underneath the house. So all of this is an addition from, I think, the late 50s. So they added a second story, so you can see how they really beefed things up. But we're gonna go in the old part, which is back there, and it was kind of surprising because normally a home like this, I would only think it had about 18 inches of space, but this actually has more than 3 feet probably. So what we'll do is crawl in here, and then we'll be able to actually sit down and kind of start taking our pictures and seeing where this is having problems underneath. So I will venture in. So sometimes you see some real fun things when you enter these crawl spaces. So this is about 2 feet in. Now pan over to that thing. So I was just telling Justin that a couple years ago this would have really shocked me, but now I kind of just expect it. So not the cleanest job in the world sometimes, but you know, we're gonna go hopefully fix this home and it'll be all worth it. So this is one of the main reasons why we and companies like ours are so busy in Southern California. Look at these fissures.
And what's that caused by?
This is the expansive soil. So now we're in a drier season before we get rain. So this soil is contracting. Later on, when there's water in this soil, it's going to expand and close some of these cracks up. So there's been work here. Oh. I mean, these are good beams. So this is untreated wood, which is not good. You want treated wood so it doesn't disintegrate from all the critters and the termites. There it is. There's the crack. See that?
Uh-huh.
That's why go straight, bends down a bit, bends down, crack. Look at that. So what Justin and I were talking about, I don't know if you can get a visual on camera. I'll try to put my flashlight over here, but these vertical 2x4s on top of that sill plate. So we see these steel plates down there, but that's not what I want to talk about. So if you look at this one, that is about 2 feet, maybe a little bit less in height. As you pan over here a little bit, you see that crack in the footing. We saw that from the outside. But then as you get to that crack, these vertical 2x4s start to get a lot longer. And by the time you hit the end, they're more than 3 feet. So if you go back to remember what I just said, this one over here is about 2 feet. So footings and cripple walls aren't supposed to be built this way. Everything's supposed to be symmetrical. So Justin was really noticing right now that how long the ones at the end are as compared to these short ones. So we were just conversing about it, that this house, they put an addition on, which you have to build a footing to support that addition. So at that point, they might have put too much weight on it, as well as building it to match the drop, or repairing it to match the drop. Therefore, that's why these over here are 2 feet, and then 20 feet away, they're over 3 feet. So there could be a lot of things, 2 or 3 things that happened here. But so what we were discussing, the new homeowner doesn't want to lift this place, they want to stabilize it. So I think that's a great idea for this place, even though it's down so much. But you would have to have so much framing work, and you'd have to compensate for the lift if you were to try to attempt to lift this place 10 inches. Plus there's no steel in the footing, and so you'd have to have steel beams to bridge the gap between all the helical piers. But yeah, this place is, it's good that we came down here and looked at this, because we would have never known this. But this is a good place to just stabilize and not lift. So Justin and I ventured over to the other side. We wanted to see if everything correlated, if everything is symmetrical. If there's the slope or the adjusted 2x4s to compensate for the sloping of the footing on this side. So we came over here, and it's night and day. That footing over there, I don't know if you can see it. Okay, you can look at this one. It's similar to this, but it's not that. It is smooth, and it looks like it's newer. So I believe, and we could try to find the city records, but you have to pull a permit when you do a footing removal and replacement. But this particular situation, somebody did at some point remove and replace that footing on the, I guess that's the west side of the house. But they also had this addition done. And then one other thing Justin and I were talking about was we would have to go in, remove some of this untreated wood that's used as bracing, as well as remove some of these posts and pads. So that's the minor, less expensive part of this job. But you could see, I don't know if the camera can view it, but this is completely offset. So it must have been some water issue, leak, and then it kind of went like that. So, and there's some others like that. So I would say approximately half of these posts and pads, maybe 20 to 30 of them. There are a lot down here, but not all of them need to be replaced. It just needs to be revamped a little bit. So that's it from down here. We are out. We are back in the rat's den. If you remember that from when we entered. We were astounded because you don't normally see this in crawl spaces, but this is concrete. So they actually poured a concrete slab, and it's being held up by these bricks and mortar. So these are probably 50 years old. In pretty decent condition as far as what's holding this slab up. They're bracing it every 4 feet or so. But up top, Justin just noticed that this, you got bricks, and then you have just a piece of mortar, more bricks, and 2 slivers of concrete that are like 1 inch wide. So Justin was actually saying that they reminded him of concrete shims. So I thought that was a pretty good analogy, but yeah, it is. So this very interesting house, but yeah, so
What's that white stuff on the ground?
that's effervescence. There's been some water problems here. So this is the white powder or water from the residual water.
Gotcha.
So, all right, I think we're all about done here. So, adios from Dana Point.